Well, it is the month of May here in Indiana, and that means it's time for another edition of Eye on Terre Haute. Terre Haute Mayor Duke Bennett, kind enough to join us. And let's get going right away with some good news in the city, and that is the community crossings projects have been underway, and you're currently working on Locust Street. Kind of update residents, kind of what's going on there.
Yeah, it's a bit inconvenient for people right now, but we're removing the old railroad track bed that's in there. So that means you got to cut into the road, similar to what we did on Wabash and 7th Street over the past years, and then kind of rebuild that section and then resurface the street. And so it should be done in about 6 weeks. We just got started on it last week. It's the first of 4 projects this year. So, it's that construction season. It's going to be a little, awkward to get around that, especially when you cut off an east-west street like that for several blocks. We had some complaints the first day we closed it like we would normally have, but just always think about the end result. That's what I always tell people, and it'll be much better than it is today.
And it's the old interurban railroad that you're removing there, right?
Yeah, sorry, I should have. We've talked about it so much, it just, and we've still got some other sections in town that we have to do, and it creates that ripple board effect that you see, and so we have to remove that.
Another big project on the north side, Lafayette Avenue. How's that going so far?
It's going really well. We're on schedule with that. We had some issues with utility relocation, some other things over the winter, but they're back on it. I check on it once a week, and it's going very well. It's a little disruptive to those businesses up along that stretch right now. We get a few complaints about egress and ingress, but they'll soon be done with that east side. We'll open that up, and then we'll switch to the west side. So the goal is to still get that done later this summer.
Okay, and then in a couple of weekends, the annual cleanup in the city is coming up.
Yeah, on May 15th, our citywide cleanup. We'll be getting out some more press information the first of next week. But we'll be meeting at the police station at 8 o'clock on May 15th. And we'll send groups out. And then, of course, we'll have a lot of heavy equipment out that day. And you'll be able to bring materials to our dumpsters at the police station there at 13th and Wabash, just behind the building there. And so it's always a big day for us. We take a lot of material out of the community, brush and large items, and then having groups help us with small loose trash. And so it'll be a major cleanup day for us, and really looking forward to that.
And you mentioned police headquarters. How are things going with the new police headquarters on South 7th?
Yeah, going really well. We're right on schedule still. I know I reported that last month, on schedule and on budget. You love to hear those things. And I don't know when in August we're going to move in, but it's going to be August. And just really, it's shaping up very, very nice. Maybe one of these days we'll get some folks out there and take a look at our progress.
A topic that you mentioned that you wanted to hit on briefly, the washout on the Wabash. What is that? What are people telling you, and what's your message to the public about this?
People were a little concerned about that, but they thought it was the river washing out the bank, and that wasn't what it was at all. We had an overflow, a combined sewer overflow, and it blew off a manhole cover in the vicinity and washed out. That the pressure that comes out of that is unbelievable, and it washed a section into the river. And so we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers. They've been out here, DNR, some engineering folks, just to make sure that that's all it was, and it was. And we're waiting on the plan now back from the Army Corps of Engineers, the approved repairs that we can make. We should have that within the next week. And then we'll get in there, we'll fill that hole back in, put some grass seed on it, and it'll be restored just like it was prior to that washout.
And for folks that are curious, where did this washout take place?
So it's just right by the playground, basically in the center of the park, or kind of the south central part. And it's very visible, but we're not having any other issues with it. It hasn't become any worse, and we'll get that filled in. So I just wanted people to know, if you've been down there and have seen it, haven't heard anything on through the media, that we're going to be repairing that very soon.
Okay, very good. Well, speaking of Fairbanks Park, we were very curious about how the planning with the Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology is going for Fairbanks Park.
We're reaching the end. And so here this month, we will receive the final report from the Rose-Hulman student senior class. We're already talking to some consultants to line them up to do some very specific designs so we can bid some of the projects out. So it's really going to start taking off here very soon. I couldn't be any more excited about the variety of things we want to do over there over the next couple of years. And so it's going to start happening very quickly.
I look forward to hearing that next week. And then later this month, the Banks of the Wabash Festival coming up. You're probably putting the final touches on your planning for that.
Yeah, we've got all the bands lined up and the vendors, and we're back to kind of a normal year, if you will, after a very subdued event last year that we did after. We did a little bit later in the year. Taking all the precautions we need to take. We know COVID's still out there, but we're really looking forward to getting people back to Fairbanks Park and enjoying the festival and the music and the food and the rides, and it'll just be a good event. And so, we're ready to go into the month.
A busy month of May in the city of Terre Haute. Mayor Duke Bennett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, John.
We'll be right back.